In this video, we will look at the digestive system. It's one of the systems that you study in your IGCSE and any other biology course that you may be doing. Okay, so how does the digestive system work? What happens when you eat food? When you take a bite of your food, where it goes? What does your body do with it? Today, we're diving into that, and this is a very step-by-step guide, so grab a snack. You'll see why that's ironic in a second, and let's get started. So before we even start, let's look at what digestion is. Okay, we know it starts in the mouth, but what is it, digestion actually? What's the definition? Digestion is the process where our body breaks down food into smaller parts so it can absorb nutrients and get rid of the waste. There are two types of digestions. There's the mechanical digestion and the chemical digestion, both of which start in the mouth. So mechanical digestion is the physical breaking down of food, like chewing, for example. And in the mouth, the teeth cut the food. The food is cut and grinded, and that's the mechanical digestion. There's also a chemical digestion that happens in the mouth because of the saliva. And chemical digestion is basically when the digestion involves enzymes and acids to break down the food molecules into absorbable forms. So for example, in the mouth, there's an enzyme called the salivary amylase, which breaks down food starch, for example, into maltose. Again, I'm going to write the enzyme in red here, the salivary amylase. And that's the chemical digestion. Okay, starch, carbohydrates, these are broken down by the salivary amylase in the mouth. Okay, what happens after that? Your tongue rolls the food into a soft ball called a bolus and gets it ready to swallow. And this is where the second step comes in, the esophagus. Once swallowed, the bolus travels down the esophagus. In some textbook, it's spelled as ESO. In others, it starts with OESO. So it depends on which part of the world you're in. Again, so this isn't just a slide here in the esophagus. It's a muscular contraction called peristalsis, which basically pushes the food downwards in a wave-like motion all the way to your stomach. Okay, so just keep that word in mind. Peristalsis is when the muscles contract to push the food downwards in a wave-like motion. So after the esophagus, the food is supposed to go to the stomach, and we'll look what happens there. But in some cases, the partially digested food can also go, skip the processes in the stomach and go straight to the small intestine. Anyways, we'll still go step by step. So before we get into the stomach part of it, let's look at this tiny structure here, the green one called the gallbladder. I just want you all to remember that the gallbladder stores bile. Okay, bile is a fluid that has enzymes that break down fats. Okay, digestion of fats. But the bile is not made in the gallbladder. It's actually made in the liver, and then it's stored in the gallbladder. Okay, moving back. Again, I need to stick to the step-by-step guide. Okay, let's go to the stomach. The stomach churns and digests protein. Remember, we mentioned that there are two types of digestion, the mechanical and the chemical. Both happen in the stomach as well, because the churning of the food is a mechanical digestion, while being bathed in hydrochloric acid and enzymes like pepsin, which begin digesting proteins, is a chemical process. So that's the chemical digestion. So the stomach turns the bolus into a semi-liquid mixture called a chyme. And again, remember, there is an enzyme involved in breaking down the larger proteins into smaller proteins. And this enzyme is called pepsin. So remember, P for protein, P for pepsin. Okay. Now we go to the next part, the small intestine. I need to figure out how to use my pen again. Hold up, it's lagging. Please bear with me right there. Okay, I think I got this. The small intestine. Oops, the image got covered, but you know where that is. Okay, the small intestine is made of two parts. The duodenum. How do you even pronounce that? Duodenum? Duodenum? Okay, let's call it duodenum. The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, and the ileum is the main part of the small intestine. Okay, this is where duodenum and ileum. Okay, this is where the magic of absorption happens. So in the duodenum, digestion continues with the help of enzymes from the pancreas and bile from the liver. But here's something important again. The bile is stored in the gallbladder, which acts like a tiny reservoir. So the gallbladder holds that bile. And when you eat fats, the gallbladder releases bile into the small intestine, helping break down those fats into smaller droplets, kind of like how soap breaks down grease. Okay, but yeah, remember the small intestine is where most of the magic happens. In the ileum, the digested nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream through structures called villi, which are like tiny finger-like structures grabbing all the good stuff. Okay, so soluble molecules, the villi will then, the villi will absorb all these. We may need to make another video on like even more details about this digestive system, like the enzymes and looking into the small intestine alone, because that alone will require a whole video. Anyways, okay, that was it for the small intestine. Let's move on to the large intestine now. The large intestine is where the leftover waste now moves. So let me just, okay, you see it right there, the large intestine. Okay, so this is where all the waste moves, and here's what happens here. Water and minerals are absorbed in this intestine. Okay, we want to label both parts, large intestine and the colon. Okay, so the large intestine is where all the water is absorbed and the minerals are absorbed. And then after that, the final stop is the rectum and anus. The rectum stores feces until it's time to go, and the anus is the exit door. Okay, so the anus is controlled by muscles that let you know when it's time for a bathroom break. Let's label this undigested food that's ready to be removed from the body. So again, the rectum stores the feces until it is time for it to be removed via the anus. And the muscles will usually help give you the signals. Okay, so a quick recap of everything. Digestion starts in the mouth, food is chewed, food then moves to the esophagus, from the esophagus into the stomach where it churns and digests proteins, then the duodenum. Duodenum digests, the duodenum is where the bile and enzymes do their magic. Ileum is the later part of the small intestine where nutrients start getting absorbed. Then the large intestine is where the water gets absorbed, and then the rectum and anus. And that's it for this video. I hope you liked it and enjoyed it, and if it was helpful, please share it with your friends.